basically do more exams. Our goal right now is to basically do more exams. Yeah. Yeah, remember last Monday I told you guys you should check out the calendar to know how everything was going, and we were only doing sections 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, and then a quiz, right?
Wait, no, you told us.
I said no more tests, and I said that we were totally done. I'm checking on real quick.
I thought you said you were just putting it on the final.
Oh, spoiled rotten, you don't have a quiz. Here I was getting you ready for a quiz you don't have. Well, that's nice. Never mind, this is on the final. 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, but no other quizzes. This is on the final, but no other quizzes. Which in some ways is good or bad, because the final quiz, if it is that last week before finals exam for every class, is pretty much a group quiz. But that's you guys, we're trying to get you to have as many final review work days as possible, including doing test corrections on chapter 4 together, because that's that last chapter that we had.
Today's for the final year is Tuesday.
We're period 4? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4? Yep, Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Alright guys, you've had a little bit of time to work, but let's go ahead and pause because these can get tricky, and once you get stuck, man, you can get kind of discouraged kind of fast. So pause. What do you do when you get discouraged?
Try again.
Or maybe reach out for help. So, you guys ready? You want to keep trying?
Yeah.
Keep trying. Just don't listen to anything I do.
I love this bunch of spirit.
Well, Claire has like 2 or 3 or 4 steps, so she's trying. She's trying to get there. Because these ones, they feel so nice when you get there. It's like when you're working on something and you're trying to change a habit, you're trying to change a skill, or you're trying to develop a skill, and then all of a sudden it just starts working and you're like, oh. Anyway, here we are. It usually takes a lot of practice. What? I'm sure. Because we're facing hard stuff. Sadly, life's going to have a lot of hard stuff. It's not always going to have sines and cosines and tangents, but it is going to have stuff that you don't like or that you feel stuck on or that you feel behind on tests. So what are you going to do? I hope you find a support network and you know that you can always reach out. But sadly in life, sometimes there are times and places you're like, I don't know who to reach out to. So then you kind of have to dig in, you have to work hard, and sometimes you have to do the uncomfortable, awkward, I'm not sure how they're going to respond, but I need to ask someone for help, and I think they're my best source right now. You guys, I try to have you reach out in your little groups, your peers. Sometimes reaching out to your peers is totally enough, but sometimes you don't even want to reach out to them. You try to power through. And these ones, guys, if you get to like a mental block, I'm trying to show you that you're not stuck. You always have things to try. Think 2 things. Math or trig. Math or formulas. We already said math. Can we subtract these? No. Can we subtract them? No. Can we cross out ones and kill kittens? I hope not. However, we did say we could change that cosine to be 1 over secant. What did you guys talk about? And did someone have a legal way to move forward? In so many jobs these days, what they look for is whether or not you can collaborate. Because at one point, you will always not be able to keep going on your own. Yeah.
If 1 is technically 1 over 1, couldn't we just flip it with the third reciprocal on top? So it's like 1 over 1 minus 1 over the cosine on the top?
We could do. But I'm not sure that makes things a lot. You would have to put this whole thing over 1 because it's blue. Oh, you could change secant to be 1 over cosine minus 1. I think you're trying to do some like jumps in math without doing common denominators, and I'm trying to warn you that they're super dangerous because things are hard. But I think what you're seeing is exactly where we're basically trying to go in that. there are going to be some things that match up when we start getting common denominators. But the common denominator was, for most of us, the most straightforward way to move forward. Because we have a fraction and we have a non-fraction, if we want to get them together just to see what would happen, we would have to multiply top and bottom by secant. Secant theta. Secant theta minus 1. All over secant theta minus 1 over. Whoa! Wait a minute. This is kind of nice, right?
Wait, oh, we did.
I just got a common denominator, and all of a sudden,
Wait a minute.
this is kind of nice.
How did you get that?
I multiplied secant times 1 minus 1, and common denominators, they came together.
I get it.
I don't. I'm confused.
Okay, what's secant times, we can make that 1 over 1. Does that help? 1 over 1? Secant times 1. Here, I can write it this way. What do I do if I get common denominators?
You can subtract.
I put them together.
Watch.
No. Try to check.
No, that's it.
You guys have different ways of doing
okay,
this, perhaps,
right.
but isn't dividing by a fraction the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal?
Oh, hold on.
KJ.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun.
And,
What did I do? I looked at the end and said, I don't want a cosine. Can't I plug in? I can plug in something with a secant. And then it was like, I can't get those together unless I get a common denominator. But once I have a common, and they match, and I have a 1 over, which flips it up, and there we go. Were there other ways? Yes. But does this one work? Yes. Did yours work?
I can't do this.
Wait, do what? Common denominator? Yes, you can. Can you see that there's a cosine and he doesn't belong?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I have a
can.
question.
Yeah.
If they already solved the equation, why do we have to do all this extra work?
You need to verify your identity.
But why?
Okay, that's a valid. So what about in section 5.3?
Yeah.
We'll come back to other T proofs. You don't even have to write these notes if you don't want to yet. That's not what we're doing, because we're doing 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, and then straight to final. A little bit different than other years. Question. If I ask you to solve this, should you be able to think, how do I undo sin? I need sine to get to x. Sine inverse, and then would that send you to the unit circle thinking, when does sine equal 1/2? Isn't that kind of like review of what we've done before with inverse trig, going backwards from 1/2 to where sine is 1/2, pi over 6? This is review. It's kind of like telling us how to read directions. That's not why we need T proofs, and that's not why we need T proofs. Oh, maybe this is starting to get to why we need. We don't need T proofs if they tell us to, no T proof, no proving, they want us to solve. This is something that's conditional, only sometimes true. They want us to find the sometimes. How do you find the sometimes? Oh, add it. Subtract it, divide it. Is this always true? No. Only sometimes true. Oh, that's unit circle. That wasn't hard. How about,
How is that true?
how do I solve this?
Divide.
We use the thingies, the what do you call it? The Pythagorean identities.
We could try that. But would you have thought to do that if we didn't do all of this, hey, you can change stuff thing? Maybe. Maybe not. But we could make this to be 1 minus sine squared. And I want your brain to be thinking Pythagoreans when you see squares. And then, well, I'd be adding the 3 sine squared, which would be 4 sine squared. And I'd be subtracting with the 3. Is that something that I can factor even if it's gross?
Maybe. Because you just
What's
got
the
the
square
sign.
root of 3?
It's maybe.
I'm not scared of square roots of 3s, especially with signs and thinking unit circles, because isn't this going to equal when does sine equal negative root 3 over 2? Isn't this going to equal when sine equals positive root 3 over 2? And now, aren't I just to a good old-fashioned unit circle question? Ooh. That wasn't too bad.
Kaylin, vibe check the math. Vibe check the
Well, this one's not too bad, because can't I just do math and go straight to setting equal to 0? So Allie, do all of these need t-proof skills? Not necessarily, but what about this one? Not always true, but only sometimes true. And what are the t-proofs trying to tell you? When given something gross, you can change what it looks like, and maybe what you change it into is possible to solve, whereas what you had originally is not. So what's section 5.2 telling you? Guess what? This can become this, but can you tell how? Or this can become this, but can you show how? Because one day, soon and very soon, tomorrow, you'll be given something like this where it's like, solve. But you have to change it to be something more possible. Do you know how to change it, and will you know when to stop? Maybe, but remember 5.1, you didn't really know what the end was, and some of you like naturally got there, and some of you didn't. 5.2 is telling you where to get to, just honing in your skills and polishing it so you'll be ready. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. So we're trying to get to be more capable in solving equations, but to be more capable, they're saying, you know what, it's going to be a really good skill to be able to make this side equal that side. Why? I would much rather get secant of theta equals 2 than to get secant of theta minus 1 all over 1 minus cosine theta equals 2. I know, I don't know what to do with that, but if I can make it look like this, it's just unit circle. Or this next one. If I can make this mess, check it, if I can make this mess look like this, I'll be ready in section 5.3 to solve. Okay? But we got to make it look like it. 5.2, they're being nice. Remember, they're telling me where to go. They're saying this is a much better form. And in some of them, Alec is going to give you two sides, and you're like, which one's better? I don't know. Because you haven't done enough problems yet, and it's okay. They're not telling you to know why it's better. They're just saying make it match. The nice thing about this one is it's pretty clear which one's the worst one. Yeah? Cool. Guess what? I just got a point. I just got 2 points. And have I done anything besides formatting? No. Sweet. 2 points for just formatting. Yes, please. It's like an AP. Just put your name on it.
Worthless points. Let's go.
It's not worthless.
Yep.
Point counts.
It's the easiest point, but it's also the hardest one to get out of. Get from 1 to 10. SAT, I don't know.
I think we do.
I wonder if anyone ever purposely tried to get a 0 in the SAT. Interesting.
Have you Casolo?
You'd have to know all the answers and get them all.
Have you Casolo's Zubi Rally?
Yes. Don't get a little lump. One of two things. Should we think math or should we plug in formula? Common denominator is good old fashioned math. If you were doing 1/2 plus 1/3, wouldn't you need common denominators? If you're doing fraction plus fraction and they don't match, common denominators. Math. And make it green for Christmas or maybe for review. Common denominators, don't you just multiply by the other guy?
Yeah.
You don't like them. But do what you know how to do. Just showing me this gets you another point because you're doing something legal. It's illegal stuff that starts losing it. What am I doing? Yeah, making the denominators the same. How am I doing it? Multiplying them by each other. Ew! 1 plus sine times 1 plus sine is bleh.
Sine squared.
That's what you wish.
Wait, with the
Isn't
FOIL.
it technically a FOILing?
A squared.
Foil that,
plus 2AB
big boy.
plus B squared.
1 times 1 plus 1 times sine plus 1 cosine.
Oh.
Plus sine of theta, sine of theta. Isn't that sine? Oh, there's a snazzy notation for that. Sine squared of theta. Whoa! I have 2 fractions. Why am I doing one big long denominator
Because
bar?
common denominator.
Common denominator, which means I can just write the 2.
I saw this chat in Soldier on Friday.
Fill in the blank. What's missing after the plus?
Cosine squared.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cosine. Oh,
I heard you.
Caitlin also has blue.
I've done the math. I think it's time for me to do the formulas. What's 1? This whole shebang is just 1? Guys, it's gonna look like magic when you look at math chat. And they're not gonna have the nice pretty T's keeping it all nice and organized. But check it. Sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. What's 1 plus 1? Wherever you are in this chapter, wherever you are in this class, wherever you are in this section or in this problem, just look up here and see how beautiful it is. Come on, we're right there.
Wait a minute.
What do you see that we can do?
Factor 2.
Wait, 1 plus sine, wait a minute. Wait a minute, stop.
You can do sine plus sine. Wait, no.
Factor 2. We've already done sine squared plus cosine squared is 1.
Wait, is it like 1 plus sine equals something? 1 plus sine equals something.
You're close, Alex. You're thinking of the Pythagoreans with squares, but we don't have squares. Someone, I heard you. You just weren't strong enough, and they started drowning your voice out. Let it be heard. What's so beautiful?
Sine over cosine equals tangent.
Factor 2.
Sadly, there's the plus. Factor 2, Sophia. Why?
Then you can make it 1 plus 2.
Wait, what?
Now, Alex, you were thinking good trick.
Wait,
Sine
wait,
over
wait.
cosine is tangent, but this little plus messed it all up.
Wait, wait, no. Where's the 1 plus sine?
There's a common 2. Why can't we always do a GCF?
Oh my god.
Pull it out. But wait, just see why. Why is it so helpful? These ones, you just gotta keep waiting for the light bulb. Hopefully, eventually it'll turn on. Hopefully, eventually it'll turn on. Check that. 1 plus sine over 1 plus sine. I can't see it. Look at it. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It'll just. Now, where do I go? Pause. What can we always be looking right around the corner? Where are we trying to get?
Cosine, wait.
Secant. And who is secant? So if I have a 2 over cosine, isn't that a 2 times 1 over cosine?
Yes.
Isn't 1 over cosine?
I watched that movie.
Dun, 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 dun.
Should become therapy. And they like that flavor.
Now, just a few of you, Alec, you were trying real hard. You were like, I think that's a property, but oh, it needed a square. I think that's a property, but the plus makes it all a legal Kittenstein thing. I think I can, but sometimes, remember, you were trying to use formulas. Pause your brain and say, aren't there 2 things I can think about? Formulas or math, like algebra. There's a GCF of 2.
Mr. Chills.
Pull it out and then goes away.
See that on there.
Some of it's good old-fashioned math. You just have the trig that's kind of making it look weird. Some of it's the good old-fashioned math. You just have some trig that's making it look weird.
I have good old fashioned stupid.
No, that's not the right word. Math makes us all feel stupid sometimes. Doesn't mean we are. Just means we feel that way.
I've never walked out of an math class and been like, dude, I'm smart. When?
But here's the question. If that's not happening, does that actually need to happen? Is math meant to make you walk out of class and say I'm smart?
No.
Nope, because then it would just be an ego builder and all we need is more pride. No.
We should just say the Stone Age We'll all been chill.
You like jail?
Could have been more.
With our hiding under rocks and living in
That's me anyway.
dirt. Yeah, that's cool.
Dirt is a heavy.
I'm pretty sure you have some pretty nice guitars.
Big monty like.
The big what?
But if you were in the Stone Age, you wouldn't even have guitars or electricity.
I'll play acoustics. It'll be good.
You're not getting the point. Pause. Come back. Alec,
Yes.
if math isn't meant to make you feel smart or stupid, maybe it's just meant to
Be there.
increase your ability to work hard through hard things. So maybe, have you ever walked out of a math classroom being like, man, I worked hard today?
Yeah, because you got sent.
No. My
Well,
brain's too dead to think
That's a
anymore.
whole other question to think about. Hey guys, remember how we looked at number 32?
32.
Remember how, sorry, not how we looked at 32 before, but remember how we were talking a second ago about how sometimes you won't know which side is simpler.
Oh yeah.
But they're telling you to make one side look like the other, and you're kind of going on faith that maybe someday you'll see why.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you right now, this one's way better.
Oh yeah, because there's no like one minus and one not.
Yeah. And there's not two separate pieces, it's one big fraction.
Oh,
And there's no tangent stuck in there anymore, it's just sines and cosines. Now you might be like, I don't know what she's talking about, and that's okay. But for something called critical numbers, using derivatives in Calc AB, if you were to ask those kids which would you rather have, left or right, they'd say this one. I know it's weird, but it's true. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to start here and work here. Some of you could start here and work backwards. You have a choice. This equation could be written either way, which means you could start and go, or you could start and you could go. I'm just letting you know, because Alec, you asked the big question, what is the point? Why are they showing us the answer and then saying that we have to do it? Because remember, they're just saying, guess what? He can become him, and in some future math, you might rather have him one day. Would you be able to get there yourself without us telling you it's so? Anyway, I want you guys to choose a side, but I want us as a whole class, because I don't want anyone to be working alone. I want us all to go the same direction. Do you want to choose the left, or do you want to choose the right?
I want the left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, rewrite, get your free point, and then ask yourself, what's something I could do? Do you want to start with the math, common denominator, or start with the plug-in? Tangent. Go.
You said like writing down the equation.
Let's hit up the common denominator,
But
guys.
does either one matter? Like if we did write that one, would that not have the question? It could be either way. It's like what?
And this one, it's kind of obvious which one you want. Okay, so
Really?
leave this
So
one.
in that
The birds that you're
situation.
drinking.
A bird, if you wrote this one, I'd still give you the point. I just don't know where you
Yeah.
go after. But this one, there were so many things, like you could have always done something weird, like you're one over secant and you're legal. I might not be able to give you all the points for getting all the way to the end
There's
perfectly,
only two.
but I can be like, they did something.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Policy.
Yeah, and this one, you're right. Either way, you go. Now, I have had kids that write one down, go legally, and get stuck. But they've only missed sometimes 1, maybe 2 points, and they've gotten like 6 because they've done legal stuff. That's the cool thing. Good question. Did you guys ask or hear what Laurel asked? She was like, you said that you could start on either side, and you get a point for writing down, so does it matter which side you choose? Will you get the point no matter what, as long as, yeah. But, like on number 29, if you went on the other side, I'd totally give you the point for writing 2 over secant. And to be honest, maybe you would have made it 2 over cosine or 2 times 1 over cosine. I could give you 2 points, but what would you do next?
You'd be stuck.
Yeah, right? So I wouldn't be able to give you like any more of the, like, I don't know, 6-point problem, because 8-point problem, but you could get 1 for the T and 1 for the rewrite and 1 for, you could get 3 out of 6 or 3 out of 8 or 2. So sometimes, like, you kind of just say, I want more points. Okay, not him. I'll go there. But yes, follow the formatting. And do legal stuff. So someone, give me anything legal to try.
Give it a common denominator.
Okay, give it a common denominator. I'm doing green because that's pre-calc stuff.
And we're doing it wrong.
We're in pre-calc. Sorry. That's review stuff.
That's calc.
Sorry, I'm used to, yeah. Anyway, What'd you guys multiply? Or what should we multiply top and bottom by? One. Yeah. It's not going to be pretty, but you're right. I need to multiply top and bottom. But, wait, if it's common, can't I do one big fraction now?
Yeah.
Okay, so just in case I lost any of you, I'm doing 1 minus tangent
Oh shoot.
on top and bottom. And now they're matched. Well, we should simplify, but I'm just trying to show what I'm doing.
Oh my gosh.
I'd do more math if I were you. What more math can we do?
Cancel it out.
No, you're killing me.
Wait, what?
There's a minus, so this goes to both, so I would just have to go right back here. It would cancel, become cosine, but it would be stuck. I don't want to go back.
Just kill a kid.
What's the math I can do?
I love puppies.
Multiply.
Oh my.
Well, but that's math though, right? Something's on the outside, you bring it in.
Oh shoot.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
It's better than you think, Alex.
What? Clear, louder, yeah. You have cosine x minus cosine x.
Get them out of there.
Those just cancel. Okay. We've kind of done what we can. Wait, pause. It's okay. We've hit a slight detour or a slight roadblock. Look at where you're supposed to be going. I live in the Santa Clarita. There's all kinds of traffic stuff that happens. Sometimes I get to a place that Waze says keep going and the road's closed. I'm like, okay, where do I want to go? I want to go to work. I want to go to the valley. Okay, how do I get there? All right, let's try this. Let's try that. Let's try that. Right? Like, we're stuck. Go look. Aw, I need signs. And I have tangents. Oh! Formulas! What lets tangent get some signs? Sine over cosine. Come on, someone. Isn't that beautiful? Look at it. What's going to happen to cosine over cosine?
Destroy.
Maybe that bottom one's not so beautiful. But at least, okay, the cosines are gone. I mean, I could rewrite it if I don't like it. I could always make this cosine over 1 if you guys are a little bit confused. I'd have negative sine of x over. Does anybody have any ideas about this bottom? Because if you look over here, there's no fractions up here. Like, no fractions in fractions.
Oh no.
What can I do here? Common denominator. Why not multiply by cosine over cosine? I would get cosine of x minus sine. Ooh, this is looking good. Is it not? Can I go single page? We're starting to not be able to see what's going on.
No, yeah.
Yeah, no one can.
Wait. I like the minus. Like, it's a little weird, but
Oh.
and when I divide by a fraction, don't I multiply by the reciprocal? So negative sine of x times cosine of all over why are you crying over here?
I don't have any more room.
Oh.
Yeah, neither do I have one to go on.
Yeah, I have no more. One more line.
Negative sine of x, cosine of x, all over cosine of x minus sine of. No! What? We were so close, and the signs were wrong. Wait. Are the signs wrong only one place, or both the numerator
Wait,
and
just cancel out the
denominator?
negatives. Cancel.
How?
With math.
Yeah, with math.
With Zorro.
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 Can't I pull out a negative and switch the signs?
Take out the spectator ions.
Yes. You know more than I do on that.
Yes.
A negative over a negative is a.
Zorro.
Do you not feel smart at all right now, Alex? You just had spectator ions. Anyway.
I said it first.
Ah! Look! I pulled out a negative and now all my signs are better. Where'd the what go?
My specs.
Wait, over what? And then he's still there. I pulled out a negative, and a negative over a negative is a positive, and now those are all nice and pretty. pretty and ready.
Does that say rats?
Emily.
What
Big people holding with the.
Who threw something number 1? And number 2, where are the rats?
Yeah, what you threw.
What is the sign of it?
What
Is that
it?
you?
Who else would it be in that area?
Get closer.
It can only be Caitlin.
I saw it flying. I was like, what? How do you see that? It's
Oh.
It looks like an R. It looks like an R and then a backwards A and then an N.
Now that you
Man,
know.
look at the time. Time's a great.
Check.
I like you're leaving, but don't
Okay, I
leave.
need to
Not gonna let you leave, but don't go anywhere, guys.
Okay.
That, Leon?
Yes.
What we have done today is we have reminded ourselves that there's absolutely no quiz or test on this information. It will just show up on the final, and I'm warning you, there's a T proof on the wrong answer.
That's fine.
Okay.
Burn.
We've also talked about how it can be so helpful to have someone to bounce ideas off of. But even if it gets hard, we all know how to start.
Let's take a co-final.
A what?
No. Coming back.
I want you.
So tonight's in the homework. Should you be able to start every single one? Yes. May you be able to totally get to the end of every single one? Maybe not. The odds, does Calc Chat have some version of how to get there written kind of weird and not following my system? It could help you get an next step. Just be careful. It won't look the same as that. And we also got to, Alec, with your question, back at the beginning of class-ish, we also got to look at section 5.3 and know what's coming. Section 5.3 just says, hey, there are equations. Can we use our skills to solve them? Bye, guys. Yeah.